And we are back with another edition of How About Them Celtics Talking C's with Bobby Kravitsky of SI Media Group. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. How are we doing today, Bobby?
Thanks,
No one
so
I'd rather
see
spend
you.
Valentine's Day with than the two of you, so let's get it.
Love to see it.
I'm obliged not to reciprocate that, but I do enjoy spending time with you guys.
Smart answer, Sam.
Nowhere we'd rather be, and I know Sam feels the same way. Anyways, let's talk about the Celtics-Nets game. We can start there. Sam and I talked about it on a recap, so if you'd like full in-depth thoughts there, you can check there. But Bobby, what are your biggest takeaway from that Celtics-Nets game? It was 118-110, but it really felt like the Celtics kind of imposed their will in the Nets outside of maybe a little slippage late in the fourth quarter. But curious to know what you thought.
Yeah, I think it started at the end of the third when they started to ease up. They had some turnovers. And for as much as they were dominating the game, they went into the fourth quarter. They're quote unquote only up by 16. And that's a lead that can go either way. And then Brooklyn goes on an 11-1 run in the fourth. But you never really got the sense that the Celtics were going to let this one slip. And maybe you would have at certain junctures last season or a year before, prior to their turnaround in mid-January under Ime Udoka. So credit the Celtics. They handled business and they were able to put it away once Brooklyn got within 6. But also my much bigger takeaway from this game is Jayson Tatum. And I wrote about this afterwards for SI, where the way that he played in the first half, he was just cooking them. He was running in transition, so he gets a few jams that way, including the alley-oop in the first quarter from Derek White. And then what happens is the Celtics understand, he knows that Brooklyn going to decide, okay, anyone else but Tatum now. We have to get the ball out of his hands. And so what do the Celtics respond with? Put the ball in his hands to start possessions more frequently. He comes off of screens, and that's where Drew Holiday in particular was just killing Brooklyn off of those short rolls. He ends up with 12 assists. And so to me, it was the steadfast commitment that Tatum has. Last night reinforced who he is and what he's all about, which is winning first and making the right play every single time, no matter what that entails.
Yeah, he talked about it after the game. He was like, listen, I've got 50, 60 before, had my fair share. I really don't care about that. I'm trying to win. Because we were on the playback and we were like, oh, wow. Big Tatum scoring game because everyone else is doing it? No. Just 41. Nothing special. But to your point, Bobby, playing him out of the post is a great way to initiate that defensive scramble. He was getting post-ups, they were saying, 2 before he even caught the ball. That makes it so much easier for his teammates to cook. It's the greatest thing ever. I'm so happy to do more of it. Mazzulla took a shot at Perk after the game. Was like, listen, look at all the posts we're doing. We need to do more post-ups. But they came out yesterday, post up 1 billion times to start the game.
That felt intentional, by the way. That felt like a message.
I loved it.
It was
Petty
so
Joe,
great.
and I'm here for it.
That game was like, if you want to show, you know what Joe did? Joe understood that the Super Bowl was Sunday. And he goes, you know what? All of these Patriots fans don't know my true personality. Let me just be the absolute worst in the best way possible during this Nets game. Perk says we don't post up enough. We're only going to post up for the first 5 minutes of the game just to prove him wrong. You know, the Nets have 2 non-shooters on the floor. We're literally going to make them be the only ones who can score for the last 2 minutes of the first half. That was the ultimate Joe. I'm a blank hole guy, which I can't say on this podcast. Like, it was great. It was phenomenal. Like that was everything you want Joe Mazzulla to be. And it was super funny to watch. As for Jayson Tatum, and we can talk more about Joe, I wanted to give some thoughts on Tatum too. He went from I am going to score at will, and the Celtics doing anything they could to get Cam Thomas guarding him in the first half. They were switched, they were setting screens, they were getting the exact mismatch he wanted, and he just could score because Cam Thomas is too small and Jayson Tatum's Jayson Tatum. In the second half, first possession of the second half, I wrote this for Celtics blog, it comes out at noon. First possession of the second half, they screen. Drew Holiday goes over, sets a screen for him with Cam Thomas on him. Ben Simmons stays up on Tatum and Cam Thomas stops the drive. Drew Holiday steps back behind Tatum for an open 3. Like immediately out of the second half.
Whole second half. That's what it was like.
That's all that happened. And then like
Rinse and
midway through the third, Al Horford set a screen and then rolled to get Ben Simmons off him. Drew Holiday set a screen with Cam Thomas. Nick Claxton hesitated. Drew Holiday dumped in to the paint. Tatum sent it over the top. The Nets defense collapsed, kicked it out. Derek White open three. Like everything stemmed from, we're not going to let Jayson Tatum kill us. And he's like, all right, there's 4 other All-Stars on the floor. Sucks for you. And that's exactly what Tatum needs to do. And I wrote about it for Celtics blog. Like, he's been so good at that this year. And for all of the poor shots he has taken throughout the year, and I have conceded, Sam, he was taking bad shots for a long stretch there. It feels like he's finally turned that corner where he's like, all right, we're just gonna win because they're gonna send 2 at me. And the fact that he is seeing double teams on a team with 4 other All-Stars is a testament to how good Jayson Tatum is. Like that is nuts, and that is why the Celtics are so successful.
Well, so let me ask you this. I mean, by the way, he became the first player in Celtics history last night to have a game with at least 40 points, 14 rebounds, 5 threes, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And I mean, he was phenomenal. Max Letterman had a stat that was even more impressive, where it was, I think it was those exact same numbers, and he's only one of 5 in NBA history to do it, the first to do it with fewer than 3 turnovers. So shout out to Max Letterman, NBC Sports Boston, for that. My question to you guys is, where do you have him in the MVP conversation? We can start with Sam.
Oof. Yeah, Sam hit it.
In the MVP, well, Embiid won't be in it. He's hurt. Jokic voter fatigue. It's a good question. Luka's probably above him. Shea's above him. Probably fifth or sixth. It's tough because he really hasn't been great the whole season. Like, we do this every year where it's like March, February. What if Tatum won the MVP? Well, what if he played well for a whole season? Haven't seen it yet, which is fine. I'll take it in the playoffs.
I also think, and I don't fully disagree with you. He did go through a little bit of a slump there, but like, I think every player goes through a slump, and us watching Tatum every night and analyzing every minute thing just naturally makes us a lot harder on him. Like, I haven't followed Nuggets basketball closely all season, but like, I know Jokic went through a slump where he shot like 30 for 100 over the course of 5 games. Like, I know there were slumps that other players went through too. And so I feel like it is maybe a little unfair just to assume that they've been perfect all season. It's just, I mean, it's natural because like, that's just the guy we've been watching. So we've been able to analyze really closely everything they've done. But at the same time, like, he's just not like going to get like put down in the rankings because of how good his team is, unfortunately. Right. Like,
that's what
I think my MVP right now would probably just be Jokic, as frustrating as that might be. Jokic or Shea is probably the 1-2. You could argue Luka above Tatum. You could probably argue Giannis above Tatum if you really wanted. So I think he's probably above those guys. I don't think anybody else outside of those 4 has a better case than him right now. I'm looking at Basketball Reference's award tracker. Like, maybe you want to say like, oh, Anthony Edwards, but I feel like the defense pretty reliant, which, I mean, that's not a knock, but I don't think that'll help in the MVP race.
Defense
you can make a case. Yeah, you can make a case for Donovan Mitchell probably. In the MVP race. You could honestly make a case for Jalen Brunson in the MVP race. Like, there's some guys that are up there, but I just think it'll come down to Shea, Jokic, Luka, and Tatum will probably be that 4th guy on the outside looking in next to Giannis.
Yeah, it's tough.
So a big thing for me is also rewarding winning. And with Luka, what he does is incredible. And if he were more of a 2-way player, then it would be a lot harder for him offensively because there's just such a heavy burden on him, even with Kyrie Irving in Dallas. But ultimately, I think I would need more team success from the Mavericks to vote Luka Doncic as the MVP. I think we've established that, yes, you can make the case that Tatum's top 7. I think he's top 5. Seems like we agree there. Embiid, such a shame because he was playing like the leader in the clubhouse, but he was running out of time before the injury in terms of games played and meeting that threshold. The criteria is not really defined, obviously, but I also don't think it includes you have to play well the entire season. 1, these are humans. 2, a lot of the past recipients had some length of a slump mixed in there along the way to an MVP. So with Tatum, most of the time he was playing really good team ball and doing a lot at both ends, even while maybe, quote unquote slump by his standards. So I think he's firmly in the mix right now. If I had to vote today, I mean, maybe Jokic is just the boring answer and I'm fighting it, Jack. I think I'd give it to SGA when you look at what the Thunder have done. But I think that it's a race that is firmly up for grabs right now.
Hey, I've got a future on SGA, so I would not complain.
Yeah. I'm with Bobby.
Does
I think
Papa
it's him
Simone
too.
have a future on SGA MVP?
No.
Just
We
the
wanna
final
get him
score
fed.
of tomorrow's game. But SGA, compared to what was expected of that team and what's happening now, I think he has the widest, like, wow, didn't expect that from them. And he's been massive last year. He was getting a ton of credit as like they were the 10 seed. Now that they're like the 2 seed mixed in for the top seed, it's not going to stop. He plays a decent job on both sides of the ball. He's an offensive monster. He's clutch. He checks all the boxes. It feels like it's going to be him. I agree with you guys on the Tatum's team's too good to really be like, look at how great this team is. You know, like everyone expected this. I mean, look how hard I am on this team all the time. It's just what's expected of them. And Mazzulla is so sick and tired of hearing that, but it's true. It's like, look how nasty they are. They should win every game.
I will say, I do think there comes a point where the expectations are even being exceeded because you look down and the Celtics have a 4-game lead on any other team in the NBA, not the East. They have a 4-game lead over any other team in the NBA. No other team has 40 wins yet. Timberwolves are 2 games away from 40 wins. The Celtics have 42. The next fewest losses in the NBA is 16. The Celtics have lost 12 games. Like they have a 6-game lead in the Eastern Conference. This is beyond they are the best team. They are like in a different zip code. Like this is not like it is truly crazy. And we came into the year saying, I'm talking like 61 should be their goal, but it's got to be tough because the East and the NBA is so talented this year. But like they're on pace for like 64 right now. Like they are far better than we even thought they could be. And I know you like joke, and I know half of you is serious. They're better. They should win every game. But even like you can't win 82 games. That's just not how the league works. But
not yet.
but they're winning like at a higher rate than most people expect. And so I think for that, Jayson Tatum should be getting more love for MVP. He's just not gonna, unfortunately. And the same goes for Joe Mazzulla in the coach of the year race. The same goes for some of these guys.
No respect in that. If you want to go there, no. Joe's just standing there with a clipboard and talking about
movies. I don't even think Joe is getting his just due as a head coach. Shams Charania went on WEI on Friday and said the reputation around the league is just like he works hard. Like that's ridiculous. Joe Mazzulla is a very smart tactical coach. He takes too much flack from his own fan base to not get credit from if that was Shams talking to other head coaches. And I believe that it wasn't. It was probably just league executives, but they should be more on top of the adjustments and how this year he's placed more of his imprint on this team. I've written ad nauseum about the corner crashing in different ways the Celtics have cooked up to win on the margins. That's Joe Mazzulla. The difference in where Jayson Tatum gets the ball, like we were talking about, that stems from Joe Mazzulla. And it's not just him, it's a coaching staff, but it starts with the bench boss and the direction he wants this team going in. I think adjustments in terms of mentality, when we discussed earlier on this program, hey, is he a better coach for this team right now than Ime Udoka would be? I think that relates to a perspective and an ability to manage your locker room and a game that Joe Mazzulla brings to the table. So I don't think he's getting really the proper credit from anyone.
Yeah, I wrote about it for Celtics blog a little bit because I have this, hey, if you haven't watched any basketball and you like football and that's the only thing you like, here's what you should know about the Celtics coming out. And everybody hated on Joe last spring. They were like, he needs to be fired. So I'm like, well, look, like he has his personality dialed into every single one of these guys. Every guy on the podium is just like day by day, like we're just trying to win the day, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he has them focused. And you can see the focus in games like Miami's win. The win over Miami, where they couldn't buy a basket in the fourth quarter, but they locked in, stayed focused, didn't get frustrated, and won the game by just simply trying, which we haven't traditionally seen. Usually it's because they just dominate. Seeing them have to get in the trenches and earn a win like that, which is something he keeps talking about, is earning wins. Oh, that rules. Good for him.
I'm also like Jake Issenberg. We did a first to the floor. We did the Celtics playback last night to watch the game live. And he was talking about how Zach Lowe and Steve Jones were on the low post and talking about Joe Mazzulla and like explaining like he doesn't get enough credit for yes, this team is great. Yes, this team is has all this talent, the best team in the league for a reason. But they had to integrate like so many personalities, so many new personalities onto a team that was expected to win. And that's not an easy thing. Like that is something that the coach needs to lead. That is something that the coach needs to help do. And to Sam's point, like he has implanted his mindset into every single one of these players, from the newbies who came from different situations to Tatum and Brown, who have been here for years. Like they all are preaching the same things now, which is way more impressive than I think people give Joe credit for. And on top of that, like I wrote about Joe earlier this year for Celtics Blog in terms of his whole mindset first thing, mentality first thing. He's throwing out like 7 different defensive looks. He's getting them in the post more. He's throwing out a bunch of different offensive sets. Like this team is like, if last year was I don't even know, like it's completely different. It's completely different from even last year in his first season as head coach. Like you gave him an off season to get his thoughts together to form a head coaching staff to like get used to the fact that he's a head coach in this league, and he's completely changed the identity of the basketball team on the floor. Like I think if Joe Mazzulla was the coach of one of these teams, like in the play-in or in the low like playoffs, like people like he'd be getting a lot more respect. Like because I truly believe he is capable of coaching, even a mid-tier playoff team in this league to being better than the talent on the team. Like as crazy as it sounds, like and as they've lost 12 games, they've only lost 12 games. Like this team is
12 too many.
Ridiculously good, like in comparison to the rest of the league. There's so much talent in the league, and the Celtics are just like, nah, worlds, like so much better. And as much as I know, Sam, you held them in high regard, like that, it is far beyond what I think a lot of people expected them to be.
I think if Joe was coaching Oklahoma City, he already would have locked up Coach of the Year. And so credit to him. When it comes to the buy-in, I also think the players deserve endless respect for making this work so seamlessly. And it speaks to where they're at in their careers. When they had Kyrie coming off of injury and Gordon Hayward coming back, everyone had different agendas, and it wasn't going to work because you had players like Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown looking to carve out their place in the NBA and fighting for their next contracts. They hadn't had the individual accolades, the sizable deals, any of it. And Irving wanted to prove himself as the best player and the leader again, and that, hey, you guys did need me in the playoffs. Hayward, coming off of a traumatic and horrific injury, just wanted to prove that he could be a basketball player again and get back to who he was before it happened. So there was just too much happening there to make it work. And I think that addition by subtraction would have helped that team. But on this one, with the most talented top 6 in the NBA, everyone's won some pretty big individual awards and made all-star games and signed lucrative contracts. And so they're able to sacrifice. Jayson Tatum calls that players only meeting before the season and says, if anyone's not comfortable with this, because you're not always going to be in the closing lineup, then go ahead and speak on it, get it out now. Let's discuss it. Because look, being passive aggressive is one of the things that undermined those Clippers teams with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, where it was a lot of pettiness that carried over to the court and undermined them. And they'll be the first ones to talk about that. And so with this team, Derek White, for example, a player we've seen when his confidence take hits in the past, what it's done to his game, but he's been able to make it work and just play a little bit in terms of approach, just in terms of mentality here, like Klay Thompson did when Kevin Durant first came, in the sense that Klay Thompson didn't let it take away from who he was and how he was going to operate. And Derek White didn't say, well, I'm going to be the guy you don't really hear from that's putting up 6 points a night and just being kind of like a solid, oh, he was there. I noticed Derek White at times. Sometimes I didn't know. He's playing like an all-star. Kristaps Porzingis, sacrificing. Drew Holiday, the guy they all credit sacrificing the most on the team as he quarterbacks the defense and has the lowest usage rate of his career at the other end. Al Horford coming off the bench. So credit to Joe Mazzulla and also credit to the players, because this very clearly is about the championship and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, just look around. I mean, one guy in particular that stood out to me lately is Jaylen, who didn't play great yesterday, but he's like taking like 11 shots in some of these games. For him, that is significantly less than what he's used to. And to be able to have him do that, not complain, and also read the room when he's playing poorly is huge. Because these other guys are all capable of doing it too. I mean, we just went through the whole list. I believe in every single one of those guys. Horford starts yesterday has 16 points. He can still do it. Derek White can explode for 30. We saw him do it in a big game against Denver. Drew Holiday, he's shooting a career high from 3. He's worlds efficient. He's taking no shots. He's taking the least shots in his rookie year, like you said, Bobby. Lowest usage of his career. Yet he's still out there. He's locked in. And they can trust him. It's fantastic. The buy-in is great. And it does have a lot to do with the right personnel. Because you simply did not have that in the past.
It's huge. It's everything you need from a team that's built like this. And also credit to Brad Stevens for building a team like this, because this is this basketball team is insane. Anything else on the Nets game or the Celtics before we move on to the All-Star stuff, Bobby?
No, I have something that we can save for after the All-Star talk, though.
Okay, perfect. Well, All-Star talk, 2 quick things. 1, how do we think Jaylen Brown's going to do in the dunk contest? And 2, what do we think of Jayson Tatum being on the broadcast for the 3-point contest, which I just learned before we started recording this? So, thoughts?
So, yeah, Jayson Tatum, analyst debut. He'll be on TNT's alternate broadcast doing the Steph Curry, Sabrina Ionescu shootout, which should be fun, and then the actual 3-point contest as well. So we'll see how he does. I think he'll bring some personality. He's got jokes, so I think he should be good. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit nervous, but it's a very light setting to begin with. So I think that he'll be on there with Carmelo Anthony and Vince Carter. I think Adam Lefkoe does a fantastic job as a host. So I think this will go well and is an easy way for him. It's a soft launch, if you will, for him making his debut and showing that he does so many commercials and things for his brand. I think this is showing you that there's more to come off the court from Jayson Tatum.
It's kind of funny. I would not have picked him for this. You mentioned all the stuff he already does, but like Tatum is somebody I see like when he's done playing, like you're just not going to hear from him. But I guess you could have said the same about Brady, and he's about to go do Fox for the NFL. So, what do I know? But he is definitely like kind of soft-spoken, quiet guy. I'm interested to see how he does. Could be fun. They love these alternate broadcasts. I'll tell you that. Nobody loves it more than these big networks. Just more eyes on the game. I get it. You're trying to bring in different audiences and entertain people who have a different interest, but it's just interesting. Cool. Yeah, sick. Tatum, good for you, buddy.
Yeah, why not? I mean, good for Tatum. It's fine.
Ask him if he needs tips at the game tonight, guys. Like, do you think, like, you're nervous? Like, we do a show 3 times a week. If you want to come on Friday.
Yeah, come on the show.
Yeah, get loose. Get warmed up. Get some reps beforehand.
Get him to come hang out here.
Just an entire show of me on the hot seat. Just like Jack pulling clips of me like, this guy sucks. Like, I hate him.
What do you think of this comment? Any response? Like, what do you, he said you suck. I mean,
he said you love threes more than your son.
I just get AI to repeat Sam, like emphasize everything he's saying. No, I think Tatum on the 3-point contest broadcast is cool. I think it'll be pretty normal, like you mentioned, Bobby. Like he's gonna be with a lot of people that he knows. It's gonna be pretty much like you're just hanging out. I think it'll be fun to see what he's like. I always like hearing players talk about or just see how they act off the court and see how they act in a more relaxed setting. I always think it gives some good insight. It's why I like the JJ Redick pod. It's why I like all these player focused podcasts. So I think that'll be good. And then the Jaylen Brown dunk contest thing. Am I the only one who thinks that he doesn't have a great chance? Am I the only one who thinks Mac McClung think he's just
you are a moron, sir?
So,
you don't. I think Mac McClung's just going to cook them all.
I think half of your argument is fair, but to say Jaylen doesn't have a chance is not fair.
Maybe he has a chance, but I just think Mac McClung is like he's going to win. He's just going to win.
And that's all he does.
This is all he has.
For a year.
That's why we're going.
Literally,
he is a sick dunker, and he really needs this. So Mac McClung for the win again.
So
I mean, after this, it's like I think his name is Jeff Ross. He does the roast on Comedy Central, and it's the only thing he has. So for the next 364 days, you don't hear from Jeff Ross. you don't hear from Mac McClung after the dunk contest is over. So
he's
got to go
literally
out there
Punxsutawney
and
Philly,
successfully
comes out once
defend
a
the
year.
crown.
Except,
That's all he got.
Yeah, all he's got. I don't know.
It
I
is.
think Jaylen has been somebody who should have been doing this since he was like a rookie. Like me, like he's always been capable of this. I truly think he's just worked on his material long enough. I am sticking to my guns on that. I think he wanted to make sure he was ready when he decided to finally do it.
He's going to bring Jayson Tatum out. We know that. So Tatum's going from the booth to being involved in one of Jaylen's dunks.
Just going to airball a 3 into an alley-oop. He's falling to the crowd.
If it gets a 50, why not?
Yeah, go do what he's best at, right?
I'll say this, though. Jack, you've got to be more confident that Jaylen Brown will beat Jaime Jaquez.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not worried about anybody else. I think he is the second best dunker in the dunk contest. I just think this is Mac McClung's job. This is why he's still in the league, with all due respect to Mac McClung.
Well,
he's not even in the league.
Exactly. This is why he is even around the league. He is a dunker. And for as great as Jaylen Brown is at dunking the basketball, I feel like his highlights are all posters. Like, there's not going to be anybody in front of him. Like, I don't know.
Put Duncan
Remember,
Robinson
we spoke to Derek White. He said, bring out a 7-footer. I mean, he's right. It's going to have to involve props. I don't rule out that Jaylen Brown does some stuff that looks different than what we see from his in-game dunks. But like we're saying here, if Mac McClung doesn't win this competition, I'm going to feel horrible for him.
The real question is, does Jaylen have it in him to end somebody's career? Like, truly, just he's got nothing left.
It's true.
I mean, maybe Mac McClung just keeps coming back.
How many times are we going to teach this lesson, old man?
He's not going to say no to an invite.
Never.
I'll be there no matter what.
He'll be there, rain or shine.
Anyways, is that it, Bobby? You mentioned you had something else after All-Star talk. What you got?
I did, and it was relevant to a topic we were discussing earlier, which is the Celtics have this huge lead. They're up 4 on the rest of the NBA, and they're up considerably on the Cavaliers. I believe it's 6 or 6.5, and then the Bucks got blown out by the Heat, so it's like 7.5 on them at this point. They've already clinched a winning record for the season, and it's not even the All-Star break yet. And so when they return from vacation, 2 things. Pace themselves, get some rest in there. And secondly, experimentation. Joe Mazzulla talks all the time about curveballs, and there's plenty that they've already thrown out there and worked on. Continue to see, push the envelope with creativity. So I want to see some fun, different things that you might not have otherwise, because you just never know which one of those things will stick to the wall and become beneficial in the playoffs.
Sure. I mean, I'm going to be mad as hell if they lose games, but as far as loading up the clip for the playoffs, I'm all in. I also said this to Jack and Jake last night on the broadcast. I'm telling you, 15th roster spot, every game, do a raffle. One lucky fan gets to suit up. You actually have to trot them out there, but they'd still win.
In the wrong Sam.
It's me.
Get out there.
I'm ready. I am ready if needed.
Go hang out there. They'll get you in. They'll find a way. I'm very excited. I think they could cook up some intriguing, some interesting different looks. I think Joe Mazzulla, like I mentioned before, has been pretty underrated in those areas this season. And I think you give him a little bit of room to experiment. And it should be at the very least an interesting few months to watch with Celtics basketball, because I don't think there's anything Joe Mazzulla likes more than just being able to experiment and have a little fun on the court, as we saw last night in that Nets game. So I think you give him some low pressure scenarios where he can just kind of like, all right, let's see what we got going on here. It's going to get weird. I feel like it's going to get very weird, and I'm very excited to see what he's got going on.
What if Joe suits up
a little bit?
He's still in his physical prime, like played D1 basketball, Final Four. He could. That'd be fire if he just tried himself out there.
That would be very.
Joe
sick,
would love to jump into Drew Holiday's role in the 2-on-2 defense. That's what he did against Kentucky when they upset them in the tournament. He would do that in a heartbeat.
Imagine if he's just out there. He takes off the quarter zip. He's got a jersey on underneath. He's a psycho. He would do it.
Jesus.
I mean, he gets pretty intense in those pickup runs. I don't know if he still plays with them anymore, but when he did, he was all out.
What a mess that would be. I'd love to see. I mean, I would pay money to
Mazzulla
watch
is
these
the just out there to injure somebody guy.
It's special stuff. It's special stuff. Anything else, Bobby, that you wanted to cover today?
No, I think we got it all.
Should we do some trivia?
Oh, hell yeah.
Let me find.
It's time.
It's the start of a new series.
I got the box. All right.
By the way, Sam, classy parade. It was well executed. So
Thank you.
tip my cap.
Sick.
All
I
right.
still showed up.
Let's see what we got going on. Let me find a good card. I forgot to prep for this, but let's see. Here we go. Which card should we do today? I give you football, Sam. You want some football trivia?
Absolutely not.
I had a cutoff in here where it goes from the only basketball cards to other things. I'm gonna have to find a new trivia game once these run out because we can't abandon the trivia. That'd be tragic.
Next. We'll chip in. We'll split it amongst three.
Let's see. I did that one. I have some just NBA ones, but I don't want to go to those yet. I feel like that's got to be last resort. I want to find a good mix of like recent and old, or else I don't really think it's as fun. A lot of these are just like all old. There's some Patriots. You sure you don't want Patriots? I've seen a lot in here.
No,
look
sure.
says
I've
it
ever
all.
been.
Yeah,
That look
maybe
lets you know.
Patriots. Maybe no Patriots. Red Sox?
Can't even look at the Red
that's
Sox right
old.
now.
I'm not gonna have you name the 83, 84 Celtics. That seems like boring and painful.
Just name the
Worry.
entire team.
Yeah, it's literally 9
That's a
others
catastrophe.
played 60 more games that year than Larry Bird. It doesn't even let you guess Larry Bird. No shot. Yeah, I don't know what the hell.
Imagine
Man.
guessing Larry Bird and being wrong.
Well, he's in the question, so it wouldn't even give you the chance. God, there's just no. I don't know if we have any good ones left. I can give you a bad one.
What about NBA trivia?
Sam's gonna complain.
Is that a thumbs down, Sam?
You do what you want. I'm sitting here waiting, dying.
I'm trying to find one. Don't dying. You know, got a cold. You'll live. Let's see. I can give you this, I guess. You know what? This is fine. This is fine. All right. Through the 21-22 season, 7 players have appeared in 900 or more regular season games for the Boston Celtics. I'll read it again. And Sam starts because he won the title last episode.
Okay.
Through the 21-22 season, 21-22, 7 players have appeared in 900 or more regular season games for the Celtics. Name those 7 players.
Robert Parrish.
Correct. He was not top of the list on this for some reason, so I was confused. But I knew he would be on here. Bobby, to you.
Paul Pierce.
900 or more. Correct. Sam. Back to you.
900 or more regular season games. This should not be as hard. Kevin McHale.
Correct. Bobby.
John Havlicek.
Correct. Sam.
Sorry. Just want to be certain. So 900 or more. Not him. Probably not him. Larry Bird. He still played like 12 seasons.
Mm-mm.
No, great. Fantastic.
No, Larry.
Okay,
To you,
'cause
Bobby.
I also feel like taking a gamble, Sam.
Larry's at 870, Sam. So they made this just to not include Larry
Yeah,
Bird. I
they
think.
definitely did.
Antoine Walker.
Nope.
That's a
Antoine.
long
I did think of him.
6 years and a brief return. Couldn't get to 900.
Twan's it. For the Celtics, he played 537.
Oof, not even close.
I'm just like trying not to miss again. I'm gonna guess Dave Cowens.
No, Dave Cowens.
No, fantastic.
Bobby?
Rondo.
Mm-mm.
He was
really-
there for me, but I knew he was only like 9 seasons.
He had the injury.
Do we want clues? I don't think I should give you clues.
Not
No,
just
I don't
yet.
think we want clues. Yeah, not yet at least.
I'm gonna guess Bill Russell.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all going in this direction now.
Bobby?
Sam Jones.
No.
Oh
I
boy,
just lost.
No Sammy. There's
That's
2 left
devastating.
on here.
there's 2 left. Oh man,
I mean, he's gonna get this and win.
Coos.
Yep.
Yeah, Bob Cousy. Yep.
Oh,
Bobby, would you like to? There's one left. You want to get it for pride, or you want to just let it go?
Tommy Heinsohn.
No. Sam.
I've
Oh, that was
completely
my
lost
guess.
focus because I'm just so upset with
I
myself.
know.
I'm gonna guess Satch Sanders.
Yeah, Tom Sanders, Satch Sanders. Yeah. Okay. There we go. 1 up in the series. Sam takes game 1. Bobby will have to bounce back live on Friday.
We're back.
Shouldn't
That
have
was
guessed Antoine, and I can't believe I let Kuz in the chamber.
That was a better name than I thought, or a better card than I thought. I thought that'd be too easy, but it worked out. I say
My
too
day-
easy.
my
as if
day
I'd
is
be able to do
ruined.
better.
Jack, you might not see me tonight.
Oh man, Bobby, any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Absolutely not.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Check out Bobby's work at si.com/Celtics, which is inside the Celtics. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics. And I'll let Sam take us home.
Yeah, make sure you follow Bobby on Twitter at Bobby Kravitsky. Like Jack said, check out his work inside the Celtics for SI Media. You can subscribe to the pod on YouTube at, it's just the name of the pod, How About Them Celtics. Full pods, recaps, talking C's, the rest, all there. Half hour before every game we're live. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. Audio pods, game recaps there. Leave 5-star review. Email us, hptcpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, name of the pod, streams there, YouTube, Twitter, Jack's Twitter, at Jack's One NBA Mine, at Sam LaFrance and Does It For Us. Bye.
Taco, come on. Taco's having some fun here.